Ever feel like you're just drowning in diet advice? You know, one day it's low fat, the next it's high carb, then you're supposed to count every single calorie. It's exhausting. Well, today we're gonna cut right through all that noise. We're gonna build a simple, science-backed way of thinking about food that actually makes sense.
So let's just jump right in with a big one. A question that kind of goes against everything we've been told for decades. Can eating more fat actually be good for your heart? It's a huge question, and I think the answer is really going to surprise you.
Look, our goal here is simple. We're not going to just hand you a list of good foods and bad foods. That never works long term. Instead, we're going to build a powerful framework, a set of principles you can actually use to build a healthy plate anytime, anywhere.
All right, so let's tackle the big one first, fat. For so long, fat was the enemy. But what science is telling us now, loud and clear, is that the type of fat you eat is what really truly matters, especially when we're talking about keeping your heart healthy.
And to really get a handle on this, we need a hero ingredient. And you know what? There's no better example than a high-quality, extra virgin olive oil. It's a staple of the Mediterranean diet for a reason, and that's because it's packed with two incredible heart-protective compounds.
So, what's its secret weapon? Well, the first one is something called oleic acid. This single fatty acid is the main event in olive oil. We're talking 55 to 83% of it, and it is an absolute powerhouse for your cardiovascular health.
So, how does it do all this? Well, it's not just a one-trick pony. The research shows it's got this multi-pronged attack. It helps lower your blood pressure, it protects your bad cholesterol from the kind of damage that gums up your arteries, and it fights inflammation. On top of all that, it even helps your blood vessels work better. It's not just one benefit, it's a whole cascade of positive effects.
Okay, but that's not all. The other key player here is a group of micronutrients called polyphenols. If you've ever had a really good olive oil and you feel that little peppery kick in the back of your throat, yep, that's the polyphenols. Think of them as your body's personal security team, protecting your cells from damage.
These little guys get to work right where it counts, in your arteries. They help stop plaque from building up, and they keep your whole vascular system stable and healthy. In fact, one of these, called oleocanthal, has been shown to have natural anti-inflammatory properties, kind of like ibuprofen. It's this 1-2 punch of oleic acid and polyphenols that makes real extra virgin olive oil a heart health superstar.
All right, principle number 2, let's talk protein. And you guessed it, just like with fats, not all protein is created equal. The real key here is focusing on what we call nutrient density, getting the most nutritional bang for your buck.
And when we talk about nutrient-dense protein, the first thing that should come to mind is fatty fish. I'm talking about things like salmon, sardines, and mackerel. These are not only fantastic sources of protein, but they are absolutely overflowing with a special kind of fat that is crucial for your heart, omega-3s.
There's a reason the American Heart Association is always telling us to eat fish a couple of times a week. And it really comes down to this. Omega-3s are proven to calm inflammation. They lower the amount of fats called triglycerides in your blood, they can help lower blood pressure, and they even reduce the risk of an irregular heartbeat.
So if you're looking to get more of these in your diet, here's a quick cheat sheet. Salmon is a classic choice, loaded with omega-3s and B vitamins. But don't sleep on mackerel and herring. They are also incredibly rich in these amazing fats. Seriously, adding any of these to your meals is one of the smartest things you can do for your heart.
All right, now for something that might seem a little old school. Let's talk about a food that our ancestors consider the most valuable part of the animal, but that we've kind of forgotten about. I'm talking about organ meats. Now, I know liver might not be on everyone's weekly menu, but from a nutritional point of view, wow, they are just in a league of their own. So when I say they're in a league of their own, what does that actually mean? Well, get ready for this number. A single small serving of beef liver contains 1,386% of your daily recommended vitamin B12. Yeah, you heard that right. That isn't a typo. That is the very definition of nutrient density.
And believe it or not, it's not just about the B12, which is essential for your red blood cells and nerves. Organ meats are also packed with the most absorbable form of iron. It's called heme iron, the kind our bodies can actually use easily. They're also incredible sources of vitamin A, copper, and of course, they provide high-quality protein that helps you feel full and satisfied.
Okay, so we've got our principles down. Quality fats, nutrient-dense protein. Now, let's put them to the test with something most of us love, cheese. Cheese can be an amazing part of a low-carb lifestyle, but that dairy aisle can be a little confusing.
So here's a super simple guide to make sure you're picking the right stuff.
Honestly, the rule of thumb here couldn't be easier. You want to go for the real deal. Hard, aged, full-fat cheeses that are made with simple, natural ingredients. What you want to avoid is anything that looks like it was born in a lab. You know, cheese sprays, spreads, or those low-fat versions that are often pumped full of sugars and starches to make up for the missing flavor.
And look, the numbers don't lie. Check out these carb counts. The king of cheeses, Parmigiano Reggiano, has a big, fat 0 carbs. How amazing is that? Others like Gruyere, a good cheddar, and Gorgonzola, they all have less than half a gram per ounce. This is how you do it. This is how you enjoy delicious dairy and stay on track.
So, we've got our healthy fats, we've got our super-powered proteins, and we know how to choose our cheese. It's time to put it all together and build the foundation for a truly delicious, heart-healthy, low-carb meal.
And building that perfect plate is a simple 4-step process. Seriously, that's it. Step 1, start with that quality protein, like a beautiful piece of salmon. Step 2, add in those healthy fats. Drizzle on that olive oil. Step 3, if you want, complement it with some low-carb dairy, like a sprinkle of hard cheese. And finally, season it up. See? You're not following a bunch of crazy rules. You're just following a few simple principles.
And you know, when you get right down to it, this whole thing is about a shift in mindset. This isn't about a diet with a start and end date. It's not about restriction. It's about a return to eating real, whole, nutrient-packed foods that our bodies were actually designed to run on.
And that right there is the most important thing to remember. When you focus on quality fats and nutrient-dense proteins, you're doing so much more than just cutting out carbs. You are actively, intentionally, and powerfully nourishing your heart, giving it the exact fuel it needs to be strong and healthy for the long haul. So I'll leave you with one last question to chew on. What if the most effective, sustainable, and healthy way to eat isn't some complex, restrictive diet at all, but simply a framework built on quality? Thanks for watching.